My fiancé said, I cheated, but it was just once. Don't let one mistake ruin us. I said, I won't. Then I uploaded a slideshow of her confession as our wedding cancellation announcement. Her family thought it was a joke until they saw her crying on live. 3 weeks before what should have been the happiest day of my life, everything fell apart. I'd spent the day helping my buddy Jake move into his new apartment. Lifting furniture up 3 flights of stairs isn't how I'd normally choose to spend a Saturday in late May. But that's what friends are for. By the time I got home around 8 p.m., I was exhausted, sore, and looking forward to a shower and maybe ordering takeout with my fiancée Megan. We'd been together for 4 years. Engaged for 1. The wedding was all planned out. Venue booked, invitations sent, honeymoon tickets purchased. Family was flying in from across the country in less than a month. I'd even picked up my tux the previous weekend. When I walked through the door, I knew something was off immediately. Megan was sitting on our couch, still in her pajamas despite it being evening, eyes red and puffy from crying. An empty wine glass sat on the coffee table in front of her. Hey, I said, dropping my keys. What's wrong? She looked up at me, fresh tears welling in her eyes. We need to talk. Those 4 words are never the start of anything good. I sat down next to her, my mind racing through possibilities. Someone died? Health problems? Cold feet about the wedding? I don't know how to say this, she began, her voice shaking. Just say it, I told her. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. She took a deep breath. I cheated on you. The room seemed to tilt sideways. Of all the scenarios I'd been bracing for, this wasn't one of them. What was all I could manage? It was a mistake. A stupid, horrible mistake, she rushed on. It happened 6 weeks ago, at Lisa's bachelorette weekend in Miami. I was drunk, he was the bartender at the club, and it meant nothing. I swear it was just that one time. Lisa was one of Megan's bridesmaids. Her wedding had been in early April, which put the bachelorette party in mid-April, right around 6 weeks ago. Megan had hidden this from me for a month and a half while we continued planning our June 18th wedding. 2 months, I repeated. You've been sitting on this for 2 months, while we're planning our wedding? She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I couldn't bring myself to tell you. I kept hoping it would just, I don't know, go away, that I could forget it happened and move on. But I can't. The guilt is killing me. Who knows about this? I asked, my voice surprisingly calm despite the storm raging inside me. Just Lisa. She's the one who convinced me I needed to tell you before the wedding. She said starting a marriage with this secret would poison everything. At least Lisa had some sense. More than my fiancé, apparently. I love you so much, Megan continued, reaching for my hand. I let her take it, too numb to pull away. I made a terrible mistake, but it was just once. Don't let one mistake ruin everything we've built. Please. I looked at her, this woman I thought I knew completely, and felt like I was seeing a stranger. I need some time to process this, I said, standing up. I'm going to stay at Jake's tonight. Please don't go, she begged. We should talk this through. There's nothing to talk about right now. I need space. As I packed an overnight bag, she hovered in the doorway, alternating between crying and apologizing. I moved around her like she was a piece of furniture, grabbed my car keys, and left. Jake was surprised to see me back so soon, but didn't ask questions when he saw my face. He offered me his couch and a beer, both of which I gratefully accepted. That night, I barely slept. My mind kept replaying Megan's confession on a loop, interspersed with memories of the 4 years we'd spent together. The proposal at her favorite restaurant, picking out engagement rings together, house hunting for our first home, which we'd purchased together 6 months ago, with both our names on the mortgage and deed. Planning the wedding that was now 3 weeks away. All of it felt tainted. The next morning, I had dozens of missed calls and texts from Megan. I ignored them all and went for a long drive to clear my head. By the time I returned to Jake's that evening, I knew what I needed to do. First, I called my parents. They were flying in from Oregon for the wedding, and I needed to tell them before they bought their tickets. Mom, the wedding's off, I said when she answered. What? Liam, what are you talking about? The shock in her voice was palpable. Megan cheated on me. I found out yesterday. There was a long silence then. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. We talked for nearly an hour. My mom suggested that maybe, with counseling and time, Megan and I could work through this. That one mistake didn't have to define our entire relationship, but I knew it wasn't just about the cheating. It was the lying afterward. The 2 months of wedding planning, of looking me in the eye every day while hiding this secret. The trust was broken, and I wasn't sure it could be repaired. Next, I called Megan's parents. That was a harder conversation. They'd always treated me like a son, and breaking the news that their daughter had cheated and the wedding was off felt surreal. Mr. Peterson kept asking if I was sure, if there wasn't some misunderstanding. Mrs. Peterson cried. I felt terrible for them, but they deserved to know before they spent money on flights. We'll talk to Megan, Mr. Peterson assured me. There has to be a way to fix this. Everyone seemed to think this was something that could be patched up with enough apologies and couples therapy. I wasn't so sure. After 2 days at Jake's, I returned home to find Megan still in a state of distress. She'd called in sick to work and apparently spent the entire time waiting for me to come back. I thought you weren't coming back, she said, relief washing over her face as I walked in. I live here too, I reminded her. We need to figure out next steps. Next steps? Her eyes widened with hope. So you're willing to work on this? I set my bag down. I meant next steps regarding the wedding. It's not happening, Megan. Her face crumpled. Please don't say that. It was one mistake, one stupid night that meant nothing. If it meant nothing, why did it happen at all? I asked. And why did you hide it for 2 months? We were planning our wedding that entire time. You let me book the honeymoon, pick up my tux, send out invitations, all while knowing what you'd done. I was scared. I knew I'd hurt you, and I couldn't bear to see that pain in your eyes. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Please, Liam, I'll do anything. Counseling, whatever you need. What I need is time to think, and we need to start contacting vendors about cancellations. Her eyes flashed with panic. You've already talked to our parents, haven't you? I nodded. They deserve to know before they bought plane tickets. I can't believe you did that without talking to me first, she said, anger creeping into her voice. This affects both of us, Liam. You should have waited until we decided what to do. I have decided what to do, I said firmly. The wedding is off. Whether our relationship is too, that remains to be seen. That seemed to calm her somewhat. She nodded, wiping away tears. Okay, we'll postpone the wedding. Take some time to heal. I understand. But I hadn't said postpone. I'd said off. The next few days were tense. We slept in separate rooms. I started contacting vendors about cancellation policies, discovering that both our names were on most of the contracts. Many required both parties to sign off on cancellations, and nearly all had fees for cancellations this close to the date. I told Megan we needed to coordinate the cancellations together, which she reluctantly agreed to, still hoping I'd change my mind. I decided I'd cover the cancellation costs myself if necessary. It was better than going through with a wedding I no longer wanted. Megan seemed to be in denial. She kept talking about when things get back on track and after we work through this. She'd even called a couple of couples therapists to set up consultations. The breaking point came when I overheard her on the phone with her sister. He's just processing, she was saying. The wedding might be delayed a bit, but we'll be fine. No, don't cancel your flight yet. I'm working on him. He loves me. He'll forgive me eventually. Working on me? Like I was some project she could fix with enough effort? That's when I decided that a simple phone call to guests wasn't enough. People needed to understand this wasn't a postponement or a bump in the road. The wedding was canceled, full stop. I sat down at my computer and opened PowerPoint. I created a simple, elegant slideshow with our engagement photo as the background. The first slide read, "Important announcement regarding the wedding of Liam Carter and Megan Peterson." The next slide had Megan's confession, paraphrased to remove any potentially legally problematic direct quoting. Megan has admitted to infidelity during the Miami bachelorette trip in April. This occurred 6 weeks ago and was hidden until May 28th. The final slide simply stated, as a result, the wedding scheduled for June 18th has been canceled. All gifts already received will be returned. Thank you for your understanding during this difficult time. Before posting anything, I called my cousin who works as a paralegal. I'm thinking of making a public announcement about why the wedding is canceled, I explained. Could that cause legal problems? Depends on what you say and how you say it, she advised. Stick to verifiable facts, avoid direct quotes without permission, and don't include anything that could be seen as intentionally trying to harm her reputation beyond what's necessary to explain the cancellation. Taking her advice, I revised the slideshow slightly, then saved it, converted it to a video with some somber background music, and uploaded it to my social media accounts with the privacy set to friends and family only. I also emailed the link to everyone on our guest list with the subject line, "Wedding cancellation notice, please read." Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. The next morning, all hell broke loose. Megan burst into my room at 7 a.m., her face a mask of rage and humiliation. "What the hell did you do?" she screamed, shoving her phone in my face. On the screen was my video, now with hundreds of comments. "I canceled the wedding," I said calmly, "which is what we agreed needed to happen. By publicly humiliating me, by sharing private conversations with everyone we know." Her voice rose to a pitch I'd never heard before. "My entire family has seen this. My coworkers, everyone. They were going to find out anyway," I pointed out. "This way, there's no confusion about why the wedding is off." My parents thought it was some kind of sick joke. My dad called me crying, "Liam, how could you be so cruel?" I sat up in bed. "Cruel? You cheated on me weeks before our wedding, hid it for 2 months, and then expected me to just forgive and forget. And I'm the cruel one? This isn't about what I did anymore. This is about you deliberately trying to destroy my life." She was shaking with fury now. My sister's live streaming her vacation in Europe, and I called in to talk to her about this. "Do you know how many people saw me break down crying when she showed me your stupid slideshow? Hundreds." I hadn't known about the live stream, but I couldn't bring myself to feel bad about it. Actions have consequences, Megan. Not like this. Normal people have a conversation. They break up privately. They don't air dirty laundry to the entire world. Normal people don't cheat on their fiancés. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard that a picture fell off the wall and shattered. 20 minutes later, I heard her car start and drive away. The fallout was immediate and intense. My phone, once I turned it back on, was flooded with messages from friends and family. Some expressed sympathy and support. Others criticized my public shaming approach. A few mutual friends said they couldn't believe either of us, her for cheating, me for the announcement. Megan's family was livid. Her father, who had once told me he thought of me as a son, left a voicemail calling me vindictive and unnecessarily cruel. Her mother texted to say she was deeply disappointed in my handling of the situation. Even my own parents were divided. My dad thought the public announcement was justified. My mom worried I'd acted out of anger in a way I might later regret. Maybe they were right. Maybe the slideshow was a step too far. But watching Megan try to control the narrative, hearing her tell her sister she was working on me, like I was a home renovation project, something in me snapped. I wanted the truth out there, unvarnished and undeniable. Megan didn't come home that night or the next. When she finally returned 3 days later, it was with her brother to help her pack some things. She didn't speak to me, wouldn't even look at me. Her brother glared, but also remained silent as they filled 2 suitcases and several boxes. As they were leaving, Megan finally turned to me. "I'm staying with my parents until I figure out what to do about the house," she said, her voice flat. "I hope you're happy with yourself." "I'm not happy," I told her honestly, "but I'm not sorry either." She nodded once, then walked out. It's been 6 months since then. We sold the house, split the proceeds, and went our separate ways. I moved to a different city for a fresh start. According to mutual friends, Megan quit her job and moved back to her hometown. Last I heard, she's in therapy and not dating anyone. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far with the slideshow. There were probably more mature ways to handle the situation. But in a strange way, that very public ending brought me clarity. There was no lingering what if, no chance to slowly slide back into a relationship built on broken trust. The bridge was well and truly burned. Do I regret it? Not really. In the age of social media where everyone presents curated versions of their lives, there was something cathartic about putting the unfiltered truth out there. Megan wanted to write our story one way. I chose to tell it as it actually happened. Would I recommend my approach to others? Probably not. The fallout affects everyone in your circle, not just the person who wronged you. But for me, in that moment, it was exactly what I needed to do to close that chapter of my life and begin writing a new one. And sometimes, that's all you can ask for.